Hey, what's going on guys, Conman here. Today we're going to take a look at update 23, discuss the price increase info that was recently released by the dev team, and also discuss the thematic direction the Ghost Ship game seems to be taking with Deep Rock. With that said, let's get right into it. First off, update 23 did launch yesterday, bringing with it 9 new enemy types and 5 existing enemy tweaks. To introduce you to the new enemies, I'm going to briefly show the trailer now, with a link to the original in the description below. Definitely some awesome new enemies in this update, and I'm personally really excited to fight against them on mission. So far I have encountered a few of them, and I have to say that the difficulty spikes in Hazard 4 and 5 make for a much more challenging game, which is awesome. I really enjoy challenging game modes, and having to learn new battle strategies is a really appealing aspect to the game that will give replayability in Deep Rock a whole new meaning. In terms of the enemy tweaks I mentioned before, we're seeing an overhaul of the Glyphid Dreadnought, including a new attack pattern in which it launches an egg filled with swarmers at the player, a boss health bar the players will see when engaging in a fight with them, regenerating armor and a shift in health values, a reduction in supply drop damage, and finally some behavior changes that make it more dangerous and better able to navigate difficult terrain, especially around engineers placing platforms. Shellbacks were another one of the existing mobs which were changed. They had armor resistances and health values reduced, a new spawn zone which is in the salt pits rather than the radioactive zone, and rolling periods are now shorter, so they will open up more to spray the player. Betsy also saw some additions of grenade models, which were added, and shaders have been improved on those. So aesthetically, the fight is going to be a little bit better, and behavior has been changed so that the friendly version of Betsy will no longer be super clingy to the player. And then finally, we have a Cave Leech new model and animation, and a Shocker new model and animation. In general, missions have become less of a grind, have some added quality of life changes. Elimination missions have more evenly spread out dreadnought cocoons, which now show up on the terrain scanner rather than the HUD. Salvage missions have increased defense zone sizes. Egg collection missions require less eggs to be collected, and point extraction missions have had wave music added to announce waves, with slightly higher spawn rates. In addition to the mission-based quality of life changes, we also have status effects visible on enemy health bars, Bosco AI improvements for solo players, and glowing bits around embedded crystals, now only glowing when the large gemstone is inside. And finally, we have some new vanity sets in the LMG gun platform, satchel charge, flare gun, and shield generators all received some unique gear mods that players can purchase to upgrade their equipments. So with that said, we have update 23. Definitely another huge leap in terms of development progress for Deep Rock Galactic, And as I've said before and continue to say, I'm really excited to see what the future holds, including update 24, which may possibly see the demise of Q mining if I trust in the speculation that's been going around, but wouldn't put too much stock in it. Now let's talk pricing. As previously announced, the cost of Deep Rock Galactic will be going from its current price tag of $25 to $30 on the 28th of March, which is a little bit less than a week from the publishing of this video. In total, that's about a 17% price increase, which brings it up to the same retail as Eco, PUBG, and The Killing Floor 2, all of which are very successful games. The big question is DRG worth it? My rule of thumb whenever I spend money on a game is $1 should equal about 1 hour of gameplay for my purchase to be worth it in my mind. Already I've spent well over 35 hours, not including any progress I've made on playing this update, and it's really just going to go up from there. I've realistically only played one character class and maxed out the level on that, so I still have 3 to go, definitely a lot, plus all the new content that they're adding and going to add in the future. That being said, for new players coming into the game, if you do not have a particular interest in cooperative sandbox games, especially those with first-person shooting elements, I would not be able to recommend Deep Rock as something that would be worth the investment for you. $30 is not cheap when it comes to a indie game, especially one in early access. And although it's nowhere near the price of a AAA title with DLC packages, it's a little bit more than I'd be willing to spend if the genre wasn't my thing. Although Deep Rock is tremendously good at what it does, there are many friends that I have who would hate playing it. It's not one of those games that's universally loved, and certainly will not be in the future unless a lot changes. So please just keep that in mind. Don't throw $30 at the game and then be disappointed later. Our final point of discussion today is going to be some of the thematic elements that have been progressively making themselves more apparent as time goes on. So when we talk theme in Deep Rock, there are some universal traits that the game has, and realistically, they all tie very closely into the game's logo, which is danger, darkness, dwarves. When it comes to danger, a lot of the game's central driving forces come in the form of the intense and incredibly well put together music, as well as the deep roots in science fiction, which elevates the potential for disaster in things like malfunctioning equipment such as Betsy encounters, and the mutated enemies like the exploders and radioactive glyphids. As more content is added to the game, the bar continues to raise in terms of how dangerous situations can turn out for the player, but so does the arsenal of weapons and tools the players have at their disposal. Which brings us to dwarves. Resilient, accustomed to life under the surface, and comedically attached to their booze, the characters in Deep Rock present a safe fallback for players to rely on when it comes to trusting in their ability to get through missions. The confidence that is expressed through voice lines serve as a solace to a player on the brink of failing a mission, although many times sarcastic remarks end up making light of unfortunate situations as well. As we progress further into the lore of Deep Rock, these characters will inevitably become more important, especially in their interactions with Mission Control, who seems to be the central driving force behind much of our background knowledge of how the world operates. But just as Mission Control gives us a good idea of where Deep Rock is headed in terms of its plot and development, so does the game as a whole give us hints at the vastly terrifying cosmic horror that seems to envelop many elements of Hoxie's, the location by which our game is founded upon. Horribly disfigured and mutated creatures with giant appendages closely resembling arachnids litter the battlefield, with other bug-like species accompanying their unending bloodlust and reign of terror. Whole missions are designed around recovering the components of comrades fallen in battle, and time-based objectives indicate that staying in a location for too long would be virtually impossible, due to the sheer determination of the endless supply of glyphids that live within the underground tunnel of Hoxus. Regions are separated by deformities and hazards, which create unlivable environments which pose terrible considerations for the life expectancies of the miners who travel these places. Many of the graphical overhauls that Update 23 introduced furthers this idea of cosmic horror being a relevant factor in the game, and elevated dangers, as well as deepens the customizability and nuance of the dwarves. So moving forward, we'll see which one of these three themes is furthered and continues to grow in terms of the plot, story, and lore behind what Deep Rock Galactic is going to look like. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did and would like to stay informed about Deep Rock Galactic, you can do so by subscribing to my channel, participating in the subreddit and Discord for the game, linked down below. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later.
Deep Rock seriously needs to invest in some better equipment. Resupply order.
Stand back. Supply car inbound.
Resupply arrived. Go watch out! Take care of this. Getting more ammo.
Scanner shows the wave is thinning out. Take out the rest of them snaps.
Let there be light. I'm taking some of the ammo. Feel much better now. Don't waste your ammunition! Ready to kill some more crates. Ugh, never felt better. Lights up! Mining is hard work. Good thing we're dwarves. Mine it! Lining up! I called for Molly. Go! Get to work! I got it! Where is that damn mule? Ah! Light! Molly, over here! Die, monsters! Much better. Rising! Got it right between the eyes! Saved by a machine, how humiliating! Molly! Line is up! teach you! Molly is on the way. There's corner heavy now. I need support. It's all you got, you slippery shit!
Swarm incoming. Get through it fast. We're on tight schedule here.
Let there be light!
Incoming. Smoke him if you got him.
Die! Lights us! Run for cover! This one's for Carl!
The wave is almost over. Wipe out what's left. Egg collection completed. Well done. Bring the escape pod in when ready. Sending in the drop pod. Starting the countdown. This is it, team. Do us proud.
Lighting up! Alien skunk!
Drop pod has arrived. The mule has been called back.
Light is up!
Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Fall back to the drop.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 4 minutes.
Go, go, go! Drop pod isn't waiting forever!
The mule has been successfully retrieved. Make it snappy, team. The drop pod won't hang around forever.